cheesesteak night tonight, baby.
What do you put in your cheesesteak?
You make your own?
Yeah, I do. Me personally, just
Yeah.
for me, it's just cheesesteak with onions and cheese.
Are you like a real cheese person or like a spray cheese person?
No.
He doesn't
I'm a
know what
real
it is.
cheese person.
Okay, just wanted to make sure.
But, they're all good. Doesn't matter what kind of cheese you put on it. They're all good.
How about peppers or
No,
mayo?
no. Come on.
Peppers are so good.
That's a, let me take something great and try to make it better. No chance. No chance. You know?
Thinking.
It's like going to, Paris and going to the Mona Lisa. I think it would look good if she was wearing this instead. I don't think so.
How has the team reacted since losing ice last Friday?
It's almost like you just keep getting I don't even know how to describe it, like that, because the worst thing about any injury is the kids see themselves in it. Like, what if that's me? What if I have to go through that? So everybody was just really disappointed for Ice, because she had worked really, really hard, and she had made so much progress and fit in so easily into what we were doing, offensively, defensively. So, as I said earlier, it's just one of those unfortunate things that you just keep seeing weird things that make you shake your head and wonder what's the limit on weird things you can see.
Do you get to that point, like, man, what, another one? Like, you make a deal with the devil 5 years ago?
Yeah, I don't know. I think we're getting punished for, the 10, 15 years where, nothing happened. And it's almost like now it's our turn, and again, they're all just freak things that happen that just, you can't explain why. It's like, well, you should have done this. No, that's not the cause. Well, you should prevent this better. There's never been in the history of college basketball by, athletic trainers all over the country, strength and conditioning coaches, to do more preventive stuff than it's ever been done any time in the history of this game. And it's being done now. And so you look around and everybody's got to deal with something. So it's got to be bigger than that. It's got to be something that I think we've all been trying to address, is what happens when these kids are in high school and how much they train and overtrain and lack of playing other sports. And, so, we've all talked about it with doctors and specialists and people who do this stuff. And they said, never in history have this many kids been so sheltered in terms of one sport, and that's it, all year round. There's no off season. I don't like it, but that's the world that they live in. And and a lot of kids, not just here, they go to college with pre-existing problems that now you got to deal with. So it's just it's just a different world, and it's unfortunate. But I remember, from past experiences, the weirdest thing happening to kids at the worst times. I think I just read someplace where somebody tore some ligament, and they said, we've never heard of it before. I said, I did. Svetlana did it, the exact same place, on her foot. So you just see things that you just make you shake your head. I could see somebody's running down the field and down the court and somebody whacks them, and you go, oh boy, that doesn't look good. But some of the stuff that you're seeing just doesn't make sense.
Did Ice have a history of any knee issues before?
She had one issue, on her knee, but who's to say whether that was, any part of it? And same thing, No contact, nobody near, and not even like land and something happens. Just your foot slips, and then you land the wrong way.
Well, how many ACL injuries you see are non-contact?
Oh yeah, it's the craziest thing. It's you just keep your fingers crossed. I think every college coach, every pro coach, you know, you look at, you know, how many players they're out a month, they're out 2 months, they're out for the season. It's just, and there's a dilemma that you have as a coach and as a, you know, strength and conditioning person. If you undertrain, you're risking the chance of an injury. If you overtrain, you're risking the chance of an injury. You know, finding that sweet spot is, I don't think it's scientific, it's luck.
Do you see a solution for like sports specialization like we're talking about?
Solution?
Yeah, do you see one?
Nope. I don't think it'll ever going back to, you know, kids playing 2 or 3 sports in high school and getting a chance to, you know, use other parts of their body. I don't know if it's ever going back.
Would you recruit kids like that now, Geno? Because it's such a different game now. You know what I mean? Would you still go after kids like that? Because you don't specialize. It's almost like you're falling behind, but then you're getting like a car with 200,000 miles on that.
That's what everybody thinks, but, you know, we're recruiting a kid that I think is the best, one of the best, if not the best player in the country, who plays basketball and plays softball. So they're still doing it. There's still some kids that are doing it. It's just not the average. You know, it's not the norm. Let's put it that way.
Is this stretch that you've had this season and last worse than that stretch you had in the late 90s, early 2000s of injuries?
Yeah, because they're just it's affecting more people. That's the biggest difference. And you know, you could honestly say that, I'm sure other teams would be in this situation, that in '97 we're the #1 team in the country by 100 miles, and Shea running to catch a pass and tears her ACL in the first game of the NCAA tournament. You know, we're the #1 team in the country, and you know, Nikisha Sales tears her Achilles on senior night. You know, we're the #1 team in the country, and Svetlana, you know, does her foot, and then Shea does her ACL again in Big East championship game. You know, we've dealt with it, and everybody has to deal with it. And you just got to get through it. That's all there is to it. You know.
That being said, they come back, and how's Aubrey looked in your eyes?
She's got the Larry Bird routine. You know, if you remember watching those games. So she'll go out there, and we'll be out there 15, 20 minutes, and she'll go, and she'll go, and she'll go. And then you look over, she's laying on the floor, you know, stretching her back, you know. But overall, I think she looks great. You know, I think she looks great. She feels good. You know, the not having played in a long time, that's a long time to all of a sudden put a basketball in your hand and try to catch up. But she's doing really, really well. I'm really pleased.
What did you see from on tape, or you watch her, like, say, like in a scrimmage or practice or whatever? What are the things you look for from her that'll convince you that she is back to what she needs to be?
You know, how explosive she is getting to the basket. How quickly, you know, she gets from one spot to another. The kind of rebound that she can get coming out of nowhere, out of her space, that other kids can't get to. You know, those are the things that her pull-up, her mid-range game is better. So, you know, you just say these are the strengths that we have to play to when she's on the floor.
What did you see from her, you know, in the scrimmage that you guys had to see her in live action as opposed to practice?
The things I just talked about. You know, there's an activity level that she has. She brings the energy level up. You know, when she gets in, there's you know, an aggressiveness that she plays with, and you know, that was her first game in a long, long time. You know, so I think she was quite effective.
You mentioned at Big East Media Day that you mentioned her among the other good shooters on the team, but she hasn't really been a shooter in her first 2 seasons. Is that something she's developed since she's been out?
Yeah, for kids like Aubrey, it's mostly a confidence issue, you know. She can make, you know, she can make those standstill open threes. It's just having the confidence to take them when they're open, and not worrying about what happened to the last one. So that's been a big part of, you know, her growing into a more diverse offensive player than just, you know, getting to the basket.
What else did you learn about your team in the scrimmage?
That we stink defensively, and it was, you know, my worst fear. I knew we would be, because we really haven't spent all the time that we need on it. This team is not used to playing together, you know, so you've got Dorka out there for long stretches of time with no live, and you've got, you know, Caroline playing more minutes, and Lou playing that hasn't played before. So it's a different look, and they've meshed really well offensively, but not defensively yet. So that's been a big point of emphasis, and this next 4-game stretch, or four-day practice stretch.
Is that a normal thing
Need to address
defensively?
that.
You know?
I think coaches go in different directions, you know. I think when you're, I've always thought when you're trying to set up, you know, what's our preseason going to look like, you know, I think one thing takes more precedence over another. And for the longest time, I think over the years, you know, it's always about, let's get our defense where it needs to be, and then we'll worry about our offense. And that's how most coaches have grown up learning how to coach. And that probably is still true. I've just chosen to go a different route and figure, I don't know, we may not be that good defensively anyway, so we better figure out how to score 100 in case we give up 95. You know?
Just bored after 38 years.
You know, but that, I think the game has changed so much, you know, that you have to feel really confident that you can score a lot of points, that you can make shots. And I think that makes up for a whole bunch of other things. But at some point, you know, we have to defend and rebound much better, you know. And I think the games that we play in the non-conference season are really going to test us defensively.
Who's got to be your defensive anchor?
Oh, I don't know. I
Someone
mean, I just think it's got to be team-wide. You know, there's a lot of pressure on Nika to be really great defensively. You know, she had a great year last year defensively, but be smart enough not to get herself in foul trouble, because we don't have enough options for her. You know, I think overall, you know, with Dorka, Aaliyah, Iana, you know, those guys are pretty active, and they you know, they can play inside, they can play outside, they can guard, you know, multiple positions. So I don't know there's going to be one person that, you know, we go to. It'd be ideal, you know, we had a 6'1" kid that could guard guards and big guys and play all over the court. And now Yana might be that person down the road.
When it comes to defense, is it a matter of communication? Is it a matter of getting used to scheme? What do you think is missing for them, even though it is early?
Usually it comes down to communication stuff, you know, people understanding what's the object of what we're trying to do, and then being able to communicate it. Most all good defensive teams are great communicators. And that's something that's ongoing, that's every day. That's every day, every year with every team. That never changes.
Geno, how can Aubrey best affect the game for you against the best competition?
She can be maybe that defensive player that we're talking about. She can be someone that can break through somebody's really good defensive schemes and just be able to get to the basket quicker than anybody else we have and be able to finish at the rim better than anybody else we have. So if she can do that, you know, if she can help us defensively down at one end and help us rebounding wise and getting to the rim wise on offense, that's a huge plus for us, because that would be something that we really don't necessarily, you know, have any other place to look for it to that level. You know, she could be the best offensive rebounder, you know, because she can. She can be.
Daisy told us she took a couple reps at point guard in the scrimmage. How did she look?
I thought she looked really good. You know, she's a good basketball player. You know, she handles the ball well. She's strong. You know, she can go from here to there. So, yeah, it's you know, we've tried to make it so it's not like, well, you know what, when you're over here, this possession, you're the point guard. When you're over here, this possession, you're not. For us, it basically comes down to, when you have the ball in your hands, you have to dribble it up the floor. If you don't, you run up the floor. So that doesn't really make us who's your point guard. So when Nika's in the game, we're trying to get her the ball and she pushes it up the floor, because that's what she does really, really well. Those other guys, you know, AZ especially, she gets the ball and she goes. And I don't worry about it, because I know something pretty good is going to happen.
Uquad joked with her. Had she text Steph or talked to Steph Curry about running point guard?
Who?
Yeah, AZ.
AZ?
Yeah, she said she might text me. Okay with that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't get me in trouble, man.
She might, you know, she might. I think the goal for, you know, for her is to constantly be watching games and watching people play and trying to decide, where do I find inspiration to get better? You know, who's like me, who can do what I can do, or who do I want to be able to do what they do? And I would think she would pick the right person if she did that. You know?
It's 2 years in a row you've done the one scrimmage, one exhibition game. Like that better than the two exhibitions?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's better. I think it's better. I think the one scrimmage gives you opportunity to play against a higher level of competition than you would normally face if you played two exhibition games. And you can work on more things. You know, we played and then we were able to stop and go over some situations and let's do this and let's do that. You can't do that, you know, in an exhibition game. You just go play the game. So in this sense, you can dictate and orchestrate. This is what we want to do. These scenarios are what we want to see. So yeah, I like them. I like the fact that we play a game, you know, in front of people and get our kids into that routine. So maybe it's the best combination, you know, one of each.
Can you say who you played?
Huh?
Can you say who you played now?
Who did we play?
Yeah, or this
UMass.
UMass.
Yeah. And they're good. You know, they're a really good team. You know, they won the Atlantic 10 last year. They got everybody back. And, you know, so. Huh?
How was PF? Did she take
PF? Yeah, I talked to the coach, Tori, and he said that if she ever gets it together, she's going to really, really be able to help them a lot. And that's so when she packed up all her stuff to go to UMass, she also packed up big carton of if. So if there's a big carton for her, if she's able to do the things that he wants her to do, she's going to be able to help them a lot. So, you know, that's going to depend on Pia.